This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, episode 175. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is our website. Joining me as he does each and every week. Now, I think last week we were wearing the same color shirts. They were off a little bit, and we got some complaints in chat about that. But different color shirts this week, and I think you're muted. So you must be muted on your end.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. What's going on, Brian? How are you? In the red shirt today, not the blue.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got our t-shirt showing. We're kind of.
I mean, this is very. Now I got to tell you,
you're the colorblind version of me. How about that?
That's fine. I last Friday we were doing some interviews at work. Now, Brian, you've known me. I never dress up for anything, including work. So I pulled out the nines. I pulled out the pants and the undershirt and the button-up shirt. Right?
Was it the American flag?
No. It wasn't American. This was just regular business attire that I wore to this thing. We ended up doing like construction in the office, and I'm wearing like the only nice clothing I own. And I was like, well, from now on, it's jeans and or shorts and this. Yes. So, hey, that's what I say. What's going on, Brian? How are you?
Well, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, you can go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Make sure you go to our website. On there, we have links to our Discord, links to our Steam group, which gives nice notifications right before the show. And, we were discussing this before the show. We really should be doing that every single time we do a game of the week. So we may start doing that like clockwork. And then we have a link to our YouTube channel. Also a link to all the different ways you might want to listen to us in the podcast form, which is our most popular form. So whether you're on an iPhone, Android, you can get, Nick does this notifications by email when we get a new episode. You subscribe to us on Google Play, listen to us on Stitcher, TuneIn. And then the RSS feed will just pretty much, if it's a generic podcasting app and it doesn't show us listed in there, you could manually add it. But if you do have a podcast app that has a directory of podcasts, what you should do is let us know so that we can look into getting listed there. Generally, they all pull from the same place, and we're usually listed everywhere. But if you use one of those kind of off the wall, one that people haven't really heard of, but and you like it, just let us know. And there's a good chance we could get listed in there as well.
Oh, thank you, PH, for the subscription. H1Z1 is dead for the 3-month subscription on that. We appreciate that. And on that note, I want to thank a couple of other people as well. Our friend Saul, our board game GM, who subscribed over the past week. We want to thank him. And then our good friend Deacon, who has been loving the hell out of some Conan Exiles. And then there's Brian, Boise Computer. I wonder who that could be. Let's that'll be great. Hopefully Twitch. So there we go. Thanks everybody for that. And with that, I will. I got him. Where's my graphic? Oh no, I seem to have lost my. Oh, there it is. My PAX graphic. We are going to PAX West 2018. Tickets should be on sale here very, very soon. And of course, we need your support to get out there. The Twitch subscriptions help as well. That gets into this as well. But we are doing our donation fund here. You can head on over to our website, infectionpodcast.com/PAX. We are exactly 100 days from PAX. 99 actually, because we're out the day before. We're baiting subs. I mean, what can I say? That's what we do.
I guess you could donate while we're on the flight. I mean,
you could. I mean, I'm not purchasing Delta's in-air $16 useless Wi-Fi. I'll just
hey, I got T-Mobile. It's free.
See, now this is a bunch of BS because here's the problem with T-Mobile in my area. There's no service. So it's like, oh great, it's free when I fly.
Do you guys have do you have decent Sprint service?
No, the Sprint and T-Mobile in this area blows.
I was gonna say because Sprint and they are merging, but they are the first 5G.
They are
providers, so they are rolling out 5G everywhere. All over the United States. So as soon as phones are able to support 5G,
well,
who knows? We'll see.
Eventually, my parents will kick me off their cell phone plan, and then I will have to go.
And then I'll put you on mine, and then
no, it has nothing to do with putting you on mine. But I'm eventually like eventually the family plan will no longer be a. Normally those are a cheaper alternative to purchasing 4 lines, but eventually that will change, and then I will be on my own, and I'll probably get T-Mobile because it's the cheapest.
Yeah, well, I mean, the price, I've been really happy with it. I've had 0 issues with it. And I know that there's people, but here the service is good. I can go to my dad's house and get like 50 megabits on my cell phone, just, near his house. So here I don't, I'm always on Wi-Fi, so I have no idea what I get here. But
yeah, my phone has great service. I never leave the house. It's
it's you're one of those. You're like me.
So
I don't know if how my cell phone service is. I call from my house all the time.
I stay home all day. Wi-Fi calling or whatever the FaceTime audio. All right, so I guess that's kind of our PR stuff out of the way. We appreciate everybody's support. infectionpodcast.com/PAX or /support. And then we want to thank PH, Saul, and Deacon for the subscriptions here within the last week. We really do appreciate it, and we're really, really looking forward to I'm itching to sign up and get our press passes. You got to wait till the tickets are on sale to sign up. So we are.
And do you know how long that is? It was
3 months before the show.
So it's like it's like 90 days. So we're 10 days from press passes, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, till we can subscribe or till we can apply rather, which we will do right away. So looking forward to that. Thank everybody's support, and we'll go over some of that stuff maybe a little later on in the show. We got a lot of news to get into, but before we get into that, game of the week was The Forest. I literally, Brian, I swear to God here, during the day at work, I'm enjoying my day. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
I team viewer into my server here at home so that I can wake on LAN my desktop so I can install The Forest. Yeah. Everything goes smoothly as planned. I don't leave the office till 1:30 Saturday morning. So
nice.
It just didn't happen. Fun. I really wanted to play. I got it installed, and I felt really bad because I wanted to play it, but I didn't. Fortunately, you were there picking up the slack. So how was The Forest on release?
So we played for a little while. And, of course, we had Joe, who was the first to rage quit out.
Yeah, always.
And it wasn't because it was just horrible, as far as the gameplay, but we were playing along and it's just like, okay, well, what do I do now? Like they're not baiting you into a story soon enough. Like there's the initial cutscene story. But then it's like, you don't know what's going on. The zombies were two-shotting everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just getting frustrating. And even though you built a base, like you don't spawn at the base, you always spawn at the airplane. It was getting tiresome because we didn't want to base right next to the airplane this time. And so we went out a little ways, and then every time you'd die, you'd have to go back and go back, to run to wherever your base is. And I figured, if you're doing a save game and you've set up a camp, why don't you start there? Right.
Like every other game, right? Like where you have a base or a bed, spawn there. Yeah,
I mean, you've got a place that you're saving. You're supposed to be doing stuff from there, and it wasn't working. And I don't know what issue that was. And Deacon and I built a cabin, and then we were like, well, after just randomly things coming up to you and us dying enough times, we were just like, all right, that's enough.
Well, that seems
we gave up. It's just the thing is we didn't go and run around, and we didn't even get into any of the quest stuff that they've added, which is frustrating. That's what I was hoping to get to, but it's just, unless I could have put it on easy, but it's still on normal. It shouldn't be to where you're just getting two-shotted all night, and we were all getting two-shotted.
And I think the problem with a game like The Forest is it's similar to I'm not saying it's similar to Firewatch. Firewatch was a great game. Its playtime was 3 to 5 hours, and I played it through in like 3.5. And I'm no professional playthrougher, so it wasn't anything crazy. But they were very clear with what they were. The Forest, on the other hand, in my opinion, we've talked about the game frequently. It's got some end game content, but it's not like Ark style of content. Yeah. So I think what they're trying to do is really drag out the beginning to middle game so that you spend a lot of time in that and then hit your end point. But the problem is if you're not going to sit through the same crap over and over again early and mid game, which is the problem with a lot of these early access games. Is they just don't know their place. You're not going to play the forest for 6 months straight. You're going to play it for a weekend and you're going to beat it.
Up to that. I mean, as far as the server running, like everything went smooth.
Yeah.
The server ran fine. We didn't have issues where it was crashing like the first time and lagging out and doing all those things. Like that worked. But it was just like, we're building this stuff. Okay, we can craft all these different items. If you go and look through, like the amount of base decorations and really cool stuff they have for building bases is pretty incredible in that game.
Yeah.
But the issue is, why, with the state of the servers being that they're not made to have 20 people on them plus, why would I go and make an incredible base with its you can put them up in the trees, but then anybody can come by and chop down that tree, and then what happens to your base? First of all,
it crumbles to pieces, and all your items are gone too, by the way.
Yeah, and so it's just they went like halfway in making it. And they should have just, if they went and did all this incredible base building stuff, make it to where it handles multiplayer better.
I've got a recommendation. Well, it's not even a recommendation. They should have done what the logical step seems to be, is just make a single player game. Why do they have to go multiplayer with it? I don't know why I'm comparing. I don't know why Firewatch is in my brain, but Firewatch is an incredibly sick. Campo Santo was just purchased by Valve, for Christ's sake. The game, it is a single, and guess what? Their new game is another single player game. Yep. Or maybe this one's co-op because there's 2 players, but I'm pretty sure it's single player only.
Well, it's co-op, but it's not.
It's not multiplayer.
It's a story, but it's kind of like the same thing. They want to tell a story in the game, and I feel like that's what they want to do in the forest.
That is exactly what they want to do.
But the problem is they put in this multiplayer, and then now they can't kind of force you down a track to make sure that you go through certain parts of the story at the same time. And it just broke the whole storytelling aspect of the whole game.
It's just open world.
It started out as a quest and story. It's a big open world game that never really directs you towards the story.
Yeah.
And so I've never felt like playing that game like, oh, here's the story unfolding in front of me. Like I've gone into caves, I've seen things, but not one point I looked and said, oh, this is a quest, or here's something I'm supposed to be doing. It's just, I'm running around and trying to find stuff, and I've never seen a quest part, but it's in there. There's quest stuff, but I've never seen any of it. And you shouldn't have a game that after playing 6 hours of it or whatever, you never even realize that there's a quest.
Yeah. And part of this is our fault and the player base at large for, at the time, multiplayer, zombie. That was what they wanted. And in a retrospect, we can say, well, maybe it wasn't the greatest thing, but in the moment, even Brian, I literally remember talking about how excited we were that this game was going to support dedicated servers and you were going to be able to play with more than 3 or 4 people, and because that's the hot thing.
How much it put them back.
Yeah.
Imagine how much it put them back developing all that multiplayer stuff, because this is built on which one is this? It's on CryEngine.
Yes, it's a CryEngine game,
and so CryEngine is just, I mean, imagine what they had to do to get this to work. They could have put in so many more resources into the questing system, into the story, into all these other things that they would have made as single player. And then they could have put all these trigger points of, okay, when you hit this point, something in the world changes. They could have had things happening that are moving you along in the story. And I think because they made that one decision of going multiplayer, that then they were like, oh, well, we can't do all these other things, where their story would have been done so much better. Okay, PH is saying it's done in Unity. But the thing is the way that they do networking in that game, it feels like a CryEngine game to me, because they struggled with it so much. And it might be just because their programmers don't understand it, or I don't know. I mean, I don't want to knock them. But Unity does very well in multiplayer. And the fact that the Forest does so badly,
it's because it was
something.
It's just because that's not what it was designed for, and it's just unfortunate that they were caught up in they got caught in the bug. I mean, they got caught in the zombie hype survival DayZ H1Z1 bug, and we were literally pushing for it. That's what makes me feel even worse about it. But at the time, it sounded like a great idea. And now, obviously, as we sit back and look, this game could have been a very, very successful single player game. Again, like Firewatch. You play it. I've literally played the game twice, and I don't regret purchasing it. I think it was $30.
I want to know what happens to the guy's son personally. I mean, I don't have no clue how to get there. No. I have no clue how to get the rest of the story to figure out what happened to the guy's son.
You're talking about in the forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing.
You kind of threw me for the loop. I'm like, Firewatch. What's his son?
No.
What's going on
here?
here?
Saying, like in the forest, his son gets taken away by these tribe guys.
That's the start scene. Yes.
That's the start scene. So I'm not breaking anybody's, I'm not breaking any storylines here. But they go through and supposedly it tells the story and you find him or whatever happens in this story. But I've never seen a hint of anything unfolding where he went or the story about him. And I never saw a hint of it in the game that we played.
And that's unfortunate.
So
that's the forest. When there's something else of importance, big updates or whatnot, we'll play it again, I'm sure. And we've played this a couple times. It's just every time it's been it's been a lackluster experience, I think is kind of
the first time we did it was just crashing out and having real big issues with handling more than 4 people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple more on there and it was just going in a crawl. The last time we ran it, but it was just, we actually went around and explored a lot of the island or whatever it is, a lot of the up to the border of where you could run.
I remember that.
We ran around, but they didn't have any of the story stuff in there yet.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was there, like I couldn't find it. And then this time it was just like, well,
what the hell?
They made changes, but they made it where you just die and die and die and you're just struggling to build a building and then it doesn't even save correctly. It's just like, oh, I just don't want to play anymore.
Yes, then that's pretty much the sentiment behind it. So that's the forest. It's one of those games, if you can get it on sale, it's not a bad buy. I may actually just play it single player, like one weekend.
Yeah, I think you'd have better luck and do it like on easy. Cause I mean, killing the zombies or whatever they are,
the game is not easy.
Isn't the gratifying part.
It's hard.
I want to know the story and explore and do all that. And I'm not looking to spend the next 6 months playing this game, as you said.
Yeah. And I think that's part of their problem is they kind of are, I don't know any of these developers. I'm not trying to put words in their mouth or anything like that, but it just seems like they're trying to be like the next Ark or next whatever. And it's like, you don't have the content to support that. Understand what what you can provide. Again, there are plenty of really good short single player or co-op games. Plenty of them exist, and they're incredibly successful. But they don't have the notoriety of something like Ark. So it's just
and I would assume that
90
whatever percent is a guess, but 91 whatever percent of people who have played The Forest will have never experienced any of that quest line and story that they put out there.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is sad. Yeah. I mean, if you made a game, you'd want to make as many people see the work that you created as possible and actually experience it in the game. And like people just get in there, they run around the initial starting area and they never really get anywhere. And that's just sad that you'd make a game. And to me, it seems like you're just kind of wasting your time when they can't even see it.
Yeah. It's a huge issue. All right. So that's The Forest. And coming up this Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, join us 8 p.m. Eastern. Not in our Discord. On PSN, the PlayStation Network, which, I know, the humanity, because, everybody shows up for Game of the Week anyway, all the time. We always have 25 people playing the games that we've got, even when they're free games. Everybody's always showing up. We are playing H1Z1 on the PlayStation 4. That game is out today. Open beta is open today, and we will be playing that Friday night. Fortunately, because it's H1Z1, the groups are limited to 4 players, so we don't need 30 people to have a good time. We can get away with and there's duos as well, so even 2 or 3 people will have a good time. So if you've got a PlayStation 4, I'm sure if you've got one, you've already heard about this and may already have it downloaded. Make sure you're downloaded, up to date. The game is about 10 gigabytes or so. Make sure you're prepared for that. And the servers are being trashed right now. And I guess you want to talk about this first, or something else you want to go with, or we can come back.
No, yeah, we're good with this.
So let's talk about it. I mentioned it last week. We talked about the H1Z1 open beta. The private beta rather. I was fortunate enough to get a key from the PR director, PR manager Justin over at Daybreak. So I was able to have access to it last week, which was cool to jump into it before the masses. But it is here, and today's the big day. They are in what they're calling open beta for the PS4, which is a milestone. We heard how many I mean, literally a year or more ago that a PS4 version was coming, quote, soon.
I think this was a couple years ago.
Maybe they lost track of time.
They were still part of Sony originally.
Oh, yeah.
When they were saying that they were going to do a PlayStation version.
Wow, PlayStation Virgin, my favorite.
The best kind.
They exist, I'm sure.
But you know, a lot of people play PlayStation. Anyways,
our audience.
So that's the thing, though, is they were originally Sony Online, and so it was a given that they were going to be a part of the PlayStation. And then, of course, they changed companies, and it kind of dropped off. And then we looked at the state of the game, we're like, it's never going to go anywhere. But they did make this happen. So, perfect show title.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, for people that maybe are newer to the program, haven't been with us since day one, we did our first 40 or 46 or some episodes of the show based around H1Z1. Originally, Just Survive. King of the Kill came not long after launch, and we spent literally almost a year covering, it may have been more than a year, I don't remember exactly what episode, covering this game. So when there's news, and this is big stuff, I mean, you're talking about this game being ported to a console. If you want to hear my opinions on it, listen to last week's episode or listen to next week's episode. I'm not going to go into it again. But they do have this. It is out. Is on the PlayStation 4 as of today. You can download it. The servers are kind of crazy right now. So they're saying there's going to be some things coming up on the version. Not everything is in there yet that you may see on PC. So one of the first things is that the duos and 5-mans currently do not have a revive mechanic.
That'll make it interesting.
They're working on it. They're working on bringing it to the console specific version, because they do have it on the PC. And from the videos that we've seen, it does look very cool. But it's not on PC yet, or excuse me, it's not on PlayStation yet. So we'll wait for that. Aim acceleration is something that they're working on. Currently, when you move your joystick, the speed at which your character moves and responds is in linear acceleration, which has led to some feedback that movement aiming don't feel very responsive. I actually kind of felt the other way, but I didn't play it enough maybe to make that conclusion. Grenade throwing and responsiveness. There were some issues with the grenades. The grenades were, as they're saying, quote, sticking, so they were a little slow to shoot off. Frame rate improvements, thank God, because the frame rate is not fantastic on the PlayStation, especially when there's a gunfight going on or something like that. The frame rate does tend to dip. Now, I don't have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I've got the cheapest, whatever regular PlayStation 4 is, so I would imagine it plays a little better on the Pro. They're working to provide a way for players to swap a weapon into their predefined slot locations. For example, when you pick up a shotgun, it defaults to your left slot, which I actually think is pretty cool. Multiple controller layouts, EMP grenade, airstrike grenades. They're working on all this new stuff. Nevertheless, if you've got a PlayStation and you're a fan of H1Z1, the game is free. So head on over to the store, download it, and if you're a PlayStation, PlayStation Plus member rather, there is a free skin or free pack of skins that you can go and redeem. So make sure you do that if you pay for your PlayStation and obviously if you've got the game. So that's.
I'm interested. I mean, I'm interested to see what it's like with probably no hackers.
I think you'll be surprised.
That's what I'm really interested in seeing, because I think we've just gotten so jaded with it always being that way.
Yes.
That it's like we don't even know what it's like to play without them. So that's one thing I'm interested to see is how does everyone play when they don't have some sort of assistance happening. So.
Well, and on that note, they've got a little launch trailer here. It's about a minute or so. We'll roll that and we'll be back.
I've walked this road since the start. Alone, one step ahead of death. There may be safety in numbers, but in the end, I go my own way. Remorse is not an option.
Well, and there you have it. It is available now. If you've got a PlayStation, you go ahead and grab that. Doing kind of maybe like a Call of Duty trailer style with the game. That's how they are. I don't know. That's how they're promoting it. The game doesn't look like that really at all. But again, it's a trailer. That's kind of what we've come to expect from trailers. But really, the key thing here, and I talked a lot about this last week. We'll talk about it next week, and I'll reference it right now. Is what you said, Brian. You are playing on I believe, as level of a playing field that you've probably ever played H1Z1 on the PlayStation 4. If there is anybody cheating, it is a very small group of people.
Because it's such a pain to cheat. I mean, I've never even looked into how it works, but I would assume it's not easy. Like,
no, most people are not doing it. It is not that hard. I mean, we've many a times contemplated, we never did, but we contemplated many a times purchasing H1Z1 hacks early on to try to figure out what the hell these people were doing and how we could protect our bases and stuff against it. It wasn't complicated. $15, $20 on PayPal, and you're up and running. You're off to the races. So that's the benefit of one of the benefits of the PlayStation 4 version. And they tweeted not that long ago, just about 20 minutes or so ago, saying that we're currently getting more hardware spun up to support the 200,000 plus concurrent players online right now, which of course is to be expected on launch day. And it's honest to God.
So we'll see by Friday.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, like console games or Fortnite games that have the Epic launcher, we won't have actual player statistics. We're at the whim of them. I don't believe anybody that publishes their numbers that aren't public all the time. I don't believe Epic. I don't believe Overwatch or Activision Blizzard, and I'm not going to believe H1Z1. I just think it's opportunistic, and it's just, oh, look at us, more players than the other guy. And it's like, well, you know what?
For me, it comes down to, can they fill a lobby? If they can't fill a lobby, I mean, that was the big thing. There was no place saying the numbers were that low, that you could tell, because the numbers on Steam Spy and things like that were counting all these numbers from Asian regions. And when you turn around and then go into the West Coast server and you can't even get a lobby to start, and you're sitting there for 20 minutes, that shows you that it never got 100 players or whatever, 60 players in that 20-minute period to even start a game. So that was the real thing. If they get to where on console, which I would be very surprised if that ever happened, but if on console you got to the point where you couldn't fill a lobby, then you would know it's dead. But as long as you can keep a lobby always going at the same time, I mean, be happy. I mean, they're the ones who are losing out. To you, it's the exact same game. So try not to base games based on how many people are playing it, as long as you can fill the lobby and play when you want to play.
Yeah, I was able to fill lobbies were filling quite quickly on the closed beta 2 weeks ago. So I would imagine now with 200,000 plus people having access, the lobbies will fill in no time. And we actually may have a problem playing Friday night, to be honest with you. I don't know what the player capacity is going to look like, but we are going to be playing during prime time peak of potentially players outside of today. So hopefully hopefully it's not too hectic and we can stick with that. But that's
one thing. That's next week, I was going to mention next week, we're looking at playing Blackwake.
Okay.
And so
I should go buy this.
Yeah, it's on sale right now. It's like $10.
Okay.
So I just finally got it because I see them playing it all the time, and I was like, it's not on sale when it gets on sale. Now it's on sale. So next week we'll do Blackwake, and just make sure that you purchase it before next week's show, because the sale ends in 6 days?
Yeah, Monday.
So on Monday the sale ends. So the next time that we'll talk to you, the sale will be done. And so then, people will say, oh, it's not on sale, I'm not going to play. So this is your warning. Next week, we're playing Blackwake. This week, it is on sale. So purchase it this week. It's $10, right around $10. And then we will play it next week for Game of the Week. So no excuses.
Oh, believe me, there will be plenty of excuses, Brian.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works. So, yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget, so I'm literally purchasing it now. yeah, so Black Wake coming up next week. This week again, of course, H1Z1 out on the PlayStation 4. If you've got a PS4, join our. We've got an infection community that's listed on there. Search Infection Podcast. You won't miss it. It's our logo in the header. There's probably like 6 or 7 people in it that we played Call of Duty with when that came out. So if you want to play with us, go ahead and hop into the community group. We'll create a community party so that anybody in the community can join that, and we'll get all hooked up and be ready to go. So hopefully you can join us for that. And then next week, Black Wake, which I have purchased, so I have no excuse not to be here.
Very good.
Sorry,
I've watched some of our people on Discord play it.
Yes.
On Twitch, and so I've always sat and watched, and it looks like they're having a lot of fun. So it should be a fun game. Everything I've seen, people seem to really like the game, and it has good ratings on Steam. So no excuse. I think at $10, it's a pretty fair deal. So just go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when you get anything for a video game for $10, in most cases, unless it's like No Man's Sky or something, and you have to spend 6 times that, it's typically.
Well, there is some No Man's Sky news.
What?
Let's do this.
Oh my God, I didn't even know. I wasn't even trying to foreshadow. This shows how much prep I do.
So there was a tweet that was put out a couple days ago. I don't know if you just want to play it. It's a video clip.
Okay, it's Twitter video, so I'll need a minute here to get
they
my
always
stuff compiled.
pause and do things.
Awful. All right, so here, I guess we could just play the audio, right?
Yeah, it's pretty short.
All right.
Now, listen, I'm just going to be cheeky and open up with, when is No Man's Sky coming to Xbox One?
Yeah, we haven't told anyone yet. So July 24th is when we're releasing No Man's Sky next.
Amazing. Brilliant. There you go, July 24th. And
oh yeah, this guy's in a serial liar. I mean, fly
And
around here
also-
with your friends. Whoa, I haven't lied before. Screw this guy.
And multiplayer is coming.
Wait,
So-
hold on. Real quick. He told Stephen Colbert on CBS that multiplayer was going to be in on day one.
Well, how long ago this released?
Oh, I don't know. Only 2 years ago. I mean,
so
screw this guy.
multiplayer is now going to be coming to No Man's Sky. So this is on July 24th, complete with all previous updates. So they'll have multiplayer on Xbox One. I don't know if that'll mean multiplayer on PS, on actual Xbox. Maybe there's. So, anyways, they'll have multiplayer on Xbox.
I have no idea what that
I don't
means.
know. I can't promise you that means that they'll really have a multiplayer on at PC. Because I've seen people match up, and I don't know if those were on consoles that they were doing it. I don't know if there is a possibility. He said that the chances would be so minuscule because of the vastness of the universe, even though you're standing in the same place. So I don't know, but supposedly it will be, and I'm sure we'll see some videos of people standing in the exact same place in Xbox and not seeing each other.
Well, thank you, Barbie, for the subscription. Her note
4 months in a row. It says, yeah, it's Litty Titty.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't read the white font on the screen, but Sean Murray is a serial liar. So, I mean, he could tell me he could say anything and I wouldn't believe it.
Well, and he looks down every time he goes to say something. So
what is that?
I wonder if that's his tell.
Well, here's a quick little strategy for people. If you're trying to tell if somebody's lying, if you look to your bottom left, you're telling the truth. If you look up in the air to the right, you're lying, I think. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's you're thinking if it's upper right, lying, lower left. I don't remember what it is, but there's some way that people act when they're lying.
Well, his is this because
his
looks down.
Yeah, his is like, oh yeah, they're adding all these great features to the game. Oh, look at all this money. That's his tell. I don't like this guy at all. He's a scumbag. I don't know him personally,
Still bitter about.
But he lied. I mean, he flat out lied about his game. I mean, he flat out lied.
Yeah,
it's just frankly, he just lied. So
yep.
Thanks, Sean Murray.
And so anyway, so that will be on Xbox July 24th with multiplayer. And so for those that are wanting to take a chance,
I couldn't feed my family that month
whatever.
because I purchased No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I bet.
So I didn't even realize I was foreshadowing that. No Man's Sky news. That was a game I never thought we'd have to mention on this program. But I guess that's exciting if you play it on Xbox. I don't know who is or whatever, but there you go.
So Didn't State of Decay 2 also release? Was that today?
Is that out today?
Well, I saw that it's released today. So
okay.
State of Decay 2 has been released today.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
It's on the Xbox One.
I'll be purchasing
and Microsoft Windows.
Yep.
So I think you have to get in the Windows Store if I remember correctly.
It is one of Microsoft's cross-platform games, which are buy it on the Xbox and you can play it on the Windows. Play it through the Windows Games Store. It's not on Steam. It's not with that. You're pretty much buying it for the Xbox and you can play it on the PC.
Yeah. So I'd seen that. I thought it was released today. So yeah. So if you're looking forward to State of Decay 2, I've heard mixed, but of course these are people playing early access previews before and things like that. I think that, if you really like State of Decay 1, then go play it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I played it all single player. I wasn't looking for co-op or any of that kind of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see if they've improved upon that, because I think they went more for a kind of co-op game this time.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first State of Decay, and I'll purchase the second one at some point. The nice thing, I don't know if it's the nice thing, but the thing about it, I mean, this is coming out from this is a real game that's being put out, right? So there's not like a year and a half of early access gameplay to be like, oh, the game sucks and this and that. It's kind of nice to just, obviously there's reviews and stuff like that. And some people did have access to it, but for the most part, the general public did not have access to it.
And I would say just go play it without going and getting your opinion first from one of these YouTube channels. Because if it's a game, if you enjoyed the first one, just go and play it and see if you enjoy it. Because I think a lot of the people that were giving negative feedback were like, oh, they didn't make enough steps forward graphics wise or whatever mechanic. But that doesn't mean that the game's not fun. I I remember playing when graphics were blocks and things like that, and we still enjoyed the game. So it's really, I'd rather play a game that's fun than one that looks beautiful and is no fun.
Well, I'm an IGN employee, and the game only ran at 35 frames a second on the Xbox, so it sucks. That's just why I don't. Honest to God, I don't take game reviews with anything, because they're just, most of the times it's just too much water. 10 out of 10. Give me a break. So if you enjoyed State of Decay 1, check it out if you can get it on sale. I'm not going to buy it full price, but when it's on sale, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, and I think that if I can get it on Xbox One and for a discounted price, but I haven't seen anything on PC really.
And Matt is saying, Matt's saying playing it right now. If you are a fan of State of Decay 1, it's solid. If you're looking for a AAA perfect, skip it. That's not crazy. If you really enjoyed the first State of Decay, you're gonna probably like the second one. If you hated the first State of Decay, guess what? You're gonna hate the second one. It's just, I don't know why is this some foreign concept when we're talking about if a video game is quote unquote good or not.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the thing is I played some games. I remember for Mad Max. Remember, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You hated it. And so it's really based on what you enjoy. And maybe there's mechanics in there that you look at and you're like, I just can't stand this part.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, oh, that was a lot of fun. That's my favorite part of it. So just go and play it. If you don't think you'd enjoy it, then wait till it's on sale.
Yeah. And as always, it's a $60 title. It's actually it's actually $29.
$29.99 for the regular one, and then they have the Ultimate Edition for $49.99.
So $29.99. It's probably not the end of the world if you buy that and it doesn't work. So I may go ahead and purchase that. But yeah, there you go. So State of Decay's out. We talked about that a couple weeks ago maybe a little bit longer when the microtransactions and stuff like that. And it's been kind of some radio silence since then. But as the game is out now, I'm sure there'll be some more news and people talking about it. So we'll
very good.
Talk about that when we get to that. Yeah, of course, paid advertisement. We're Microsoft's pocket here. That's how we're getting out to PAX.
It's a shill.
Hey, well, for the right price, I can be. So
all right, so let's let's talk about Conan.
Okay.
Or do you have one you're going to go?
I just want to quickly just mention Just Survive, since we were just on the H1Z1 topic. We did finally get the long-awaited post from the Just Survive team And this came from Mitch. His post reads, "Hello, fellow survivors. Mitch here. For those who don't know me, I'm the technical director for Just Survive and have been working on the game from the beginning. I know it's been a while since you've heard from us, and we apologize for that. Thank you for being patient with us as we work through our plans for the game internally. I'm here now to provide you with some visibility into our current and immediate plans for the game. We are a small, not a shocker, yet passionate team. We're working hard to keep the zombies wandering on the landscape." So some of the things that they're working on for their mid-June patch are reducing the materials needed to create explosives, reduce the materials needed to build base components, removing the automatic server construction cap that the server was placing based on memory usage, adding slight movement penalties after crouching, quickly ramping back up to full speed, adding several more anti-cheat categories/trackers, and then just memory leaks on the servers, improving default shadowing of the settings. It's just not the update I was hoping to get from the Just Survive team. And they say here, we're a small team. The majority of our resources are spent on mostly maintaining the game. The problem is there's nothing to maintain.
Yeah.
So if you spend all your time maintaining, that's like if we were doing this podcast for one person every week, one viewer. Brian does an immense amount of show prep. We sit here for 2 hours and do the show, and then I do anywhere between an hour to 2 hours of post-production with uploading and moving everything over. I mean, that would be a lot of time for one person. That's kind of what I feel like with the Just Survive team. It's like, oh, we're keeping it maintained. For what? 320 players?
So why don't they, here's what I don't understand. Like, they're to the point now where they could roll Just Survive back into H1Z1 because that's the thing is all the stability and all the stuff that they've done for the regular H1Z1 now. Like, why not just take advantage of that and have that be your starting point, and then take that map, and rather than having people drop in at the beginning of a match, let people build bases. All you have to do is say, our focus is to put base building in King of the Kill. I mean, honestly, they'd be farther ahead than they are right now.
How about this? How about a BR mode with zombies? That's kind of like survival.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no gas.
They need to merge them. They need to merge them back, and then just modify King of the Kill and quit with this double teams, because we've learned what the dual teams does.
Yeah.
It means that Just Survive is never getting touched again, which is
when they're saying that
pretty much what it's been.
But my point is, like, you can say that and say, oh, that's speculation. They literally, I'll read it again. Most of our time is
trying to fix bugs. As you said, for the few people left playing it, what's the point? You've got as many people playing it as are hired at that company probably now.
I mean, I'm not even going to put it in the current players because it's abysmal. There are 557 people playing Just Survive right now. Like, I mean, you're keeping a game maintained. I understand you need to keep the game maintained and all, but I mean, this game is dead. I was hoping out of this thing they'd say, you know what? We talked with management. We decided, we're going to come back strong. We're going to do this, that, and the other. And literally, this is like reducing the materials needed to create explosives.
Yeah, why not just take make it a plug-in, the equivalent of a plug-in for King of the Kill. Like, say, we're going to take King of the Kill, and then we're just going to make a game mode that is Just Survive, where there's zombies, and you don't even have to do base building, really.
That's what I'm saying. Why not do a King of the Kill mode with zombies, where there's maybe the gas is incredibly slow. Like, if you had to wait for the gas, it would take like an hour. It would be a really slow game. You'd be PvP and PvE. Just do something. But I mean, this is a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people have to honestly understand that it's not going to be improving. I mean, they've said it there. It's not improving. It's just maintaining. Is all they're going to do is maintain. And what's the point of that? I mean, why don't I don't know internally. When he went and gave this presentation to the management, the upper management, like he was talking about, why didn't they say, honestly, we'd be farther ahead if we just started doing something that's a branch of King of the Kill? I mean, because from the thing we got back, like, what's the point of hiring these people? What's the point of these people still having their job? Why not just fire them and close down H1Z1 or Just Survive?
Yeah, and obviously that's.
I mean, there's no point. I mean, it's not going anywhere. They've accepted that it's not going anywhere. Why are they just maintaining this and just treading water?
Yeah, I mean,
because you can tread water. If you're not planning on swimming to shore, you're just going to drown. So, I mean, why are you waiting?
I mean, I understand. I understand what they're probably doing. But it just seems like when they say, what exactly was the word? The words here. We are a small yet passionate team. Maybe at the most 10 people.
I'd probably less than that.
Maybe 15.
I bet you it's like three. No, I bet you it's 3 or 4 people.
Well,
I bet you Justify probably has 3 or 4 people.
It's got to have at least 10.
They're not getting any new graphics.
Yeah.
They probably just have 3 or 4 coders that are sitting there working on random bugs. You know, maybe one that has something to do with, but they don't even need animation people, right?
That's what I'm saying. But Mitch is the director for it, so I'm saying that's why I don't think 10 is a crazy number. You've got a director, okay, 8. But my point is, this is not a large team, and you're running into a situation where you've got a game that, in my opinion, is not playable at this point in time. There's nothing to do. They've reverted almost a year worth of lead up to a certain game. Got rid of all of it back to square one, where we literally were in 2015.
Yeah.
And now the narrative is we spend a majority of our resources are spent mostly on maintaining game stability, fixing game-breaking bugs, and improving the anti-cheat methods. So there is no new content coming to H1Z1.
Nope.
So it's a ticking time bomb at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that they've accepted and are fine with it, is what it feels like to me.
Which
or
sucks.
maybe he pitched a good case. Maybe they're like, we're going to shut this thing down anyways. Just be thankful you have a job and sit back and shut up for a while. I mean, that could be the conversation that came back. But honestly, if they really wanted to save it, I mean, say we're going to improve upon King of the Kill. But the thing is that after seeing the performance of what happened with Just Survive, like the total lack of any competent development, do you want them touching your one successful product? Probably not.
Well, I think that's part of what part of it is most likely them not wanting to drag Just Survive back in. I mean, their subreddit, Brian, has 2,799 participants, less than 3,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Twitch streamers, small Twitch streamers that have more than 3,000 people in their 3,000 people subscribed to their subreddit.
Yep. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so, I mean, that's a big change from the look, we have however many, like 100,000, 200,000 people. I don't remember what was it in its peak, 100,000, hundreds of thousands of people playing simultaneously.
Oh yeah, well 40,000 was H1 was when Just Survive broke off. 40,000.
But I'm talking about like H1Z1. Like there was all these big numbers that they were throwing out. Where are those people now? I mean they're
playing on PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's it.
So
and how long are these people going to be interested in the PS4?
They're not. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to go back to that. They're not. They're not going to. So kind of a sad day, I guess, from the H1Z1 world, which it is inevitable now that this game will be at some point, most likely sooner than later.
And that was what I enjoyed the most time in. That's Just Survive was the most enjoyable out of the whole, between it and King of the Kill.
I wonder how much time.
The time that we had in there, I enjoyed it the most.
Yeah, I wish I could see how much time I had played in it. It's tough because
I'll look.
Well, it doesn't matter because most of your hours were in original H1Z1 before the split.
Yeah, but when it split, wasn't Just Survive the one that maintained the hours? Yeah, because I had 896.7 hours.
Okay,
so just under 900 hours in Just Survive.
I've got about 300. So yeah, yeah. Okay, you're absolutely correct. So
so that's the thing is I put a lot of hours. I mean, I generally don't put 1,000 hours almost into a game.
Yeah.
And so that one I really did enjoy, and it was the people that made it, and they just made such a poor product that didn't allow people to play, and totally took away the friendliness and saying I'm friendly and not being friendly aspect of the game. I mean, catering to the offline base rating, which I know was kind of needed, but they never finished anything and they never followed through enough to even make something that ended up being playable.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to play. And that when you do that, this is what happens.
Absolutely. So kind of a sad situation with H1Z1, but we'll see. I'm excited for the future of the King of the Kill version now out on PlayStation and to see where they go with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off into your previous topic. What game did you want to jump into?
So let's just go ahead and jump into Conan.
Okay.
They did do one patch here, and this was on the 18th. And this was mainly an AFK. So on the servers, when people would sit there and AFK, they added a kick feature. So after 30 minutes of inactivity by default, you can go in there and have it kick people so they can't just idle in the server. Other than that, there was some text corrections in the localization, and then a crash fix, a few crash fixes that they did. So I don't know, not a huge patch, but it was pretty much just a anti-AFK patch. So you probably won't notice, especially if you're playing local. If you're playing solo local, you're not going to even notice this.
I love this.
I'm not sure what I think it was for the really full servers that they're running into this, where because just released, there's people filling up servers, and then you have all these people idling. So I think that they finally had to deal with this just because they had enough players.
Yes,
never ran into this before.
I like their meme here of some boss kicking a player.
Kicking.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Very low resolution image, I must add.
Yeah. Well, and this game has improved so much.
Yeah.
This is something that people are still playing it. We do still have a server up right now.
How do people get to that?
So if you search for infection and then we have a password, just jump into our Discord and we'll give you the password for it.
I think is it in the server channel in Discord?
No, I don't think we posted it. I think we've just been told, but we can.
I would post it in there, yeah.
But if you just search for infection, you'll see us on the server list, and then jump into our Discord, and I'll post it into the servers tab, the channel on there, and then you can jump in. But we have people playing. The server's been up, and there's people that are getting pretty far advanced into it.
Yeah,
so,
Deegan's been playing it a lot. This week I wanted
Musty's playing it as well. So.
Him and Musty. I'm good. Over this next week, I'm gonna talk with Deacon and kind of get some of his experiences with it because I haven't had the chance to play it.
I've heard really positive things on the Steam reviews.
Yes.
Very positive thing. I looked on their Reddit, super positive on their Reddit, which is almost unheard of.
Yes.
But people saying, like making posts about, you guys are consuming my life. I'm going to get fired from my job because I'm having so much fun in this game that I'm being late for work and da da da. Yeah. So it's like the old days of H1Z1.
Yeah. Well, and so looking at this, overall, the reviews are mixed, which makes sense. The game launch was less than stellar.
They're having to counter. Yeah, they're having to counter.
So there was 66% of the 17,000 reviews were positive. If we go to recent reviews in the last 30 days, 73% of the reviews are positive, which is good.
That's good.
Yep. Guess what? That's a great number because you had a whole bunch of people that probably just played it originally and then now left a crappy review or whatever. That's a solid number. I just peeked at the numbers real quickly. They're looking good. We'll have them later on in the show with that, but I'm very
servers
excited for
have
the Conan team.
Been very stable,
and I'm going to be reaching out to them this week to book them for the show. So cool. I think everything is pretty much died down on their end. It's probably not all hands on deck as it was 2 weeks ago. So we'll reach out to them. Hopefully we can get Jens Erik or somebody else back on the program and talk about your game is out.
Where they're going from here.
Yeah. So look forward.
All right, very good. Yeah, so that's Conan. And as I said, if you're interested in playing, just jump on our server. And people have been having a lot of fun with that. And we'll keep it up. It's like any of our servers. If people play it, we'll keep it going. And
JD is saying, I have been enjoying it single player. I kind of felt like maybe I'd play it single player because I missed the server launch. I wonder if I might play it single player.
I don't think there's any, but with the way this game works, there's not really a drawback of jumping in late.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing happening on the server that is now forcing you to do anything different. Like you can still run and do your own thing.
Okay. That's probably,
and you're not going to be held back in any way. You could just even not join the clan.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't even have access to the buildings.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good
idea. And then later as you get more advanced, if you reach something, you say, this would be better, like especially for those dungeons and things. That's what I want to get to, is to go play some of the dungeons. So if you can even level up on your own, and then when we get to the dungeon level, let's go do those together.
I do need to jump into that. God, I've got so much stuff I want to be and need to be playing. No, none of it is need. Stuff I want to be playing. And Conan is on that list. So I just need to make a better effort to get it. But I will be reaching out to them this week, the FunCon people, and hopefully get somebody on in the next 2 weeks or so. So
very good.
Awesome.
All right. So let's go ahead and we'll just jump into some PUBG news.
Okay. So this is going to be a little bit longer. Do you want to announce our giveaway before we hop into PUBG here?
We'll go and get started. And so do the first one, and then I'll get.
Okay. Yeah.
Since we don't really have a delay, I can't.
Yeah. So we talked last week or the week before about the big PUBG tournament that's going on in Berlin, and it's the PUBG Global Invitational. It's happening in Berlin this year, and it begins May 24th, and that is the qualifiers, the North American qualifiers. So it's the United States, Canada, and Mexico. There's 320 teams. It begins here in just 2 days. And it will battle to be one of the 3 teams to represent NA. So they've already got. So I guess what they've got 2 other teams that were already set up, but this is just kind of I think anybody can qualify for this. You can register your team for the qualifier. There's a link to do that, and if you win the qualifier, there's 150, or actually the top 20 teams are splitting $150,000 prize pool, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then obviously the winning team of that, you could literally go to the tournament here in Berlin. So the first round is 320 teams. That's May 24th. So that's coming up here. The second round, May 25th, is 160 teams. That's how they're going to be doing that. The third round is going to take place over the 26th and 27th of May. 80 teams, and starting with the third round, they'll be hosted on Twitch and whatnot. And then the final round is going to be 20 teams, which is actually a live tournament, which will take place in Burbank, California, June 22nd through the 24th. 20 teams, 12 matches across 3 days. Top 2 teams, it says top 3 teams go to the Invitational, but it also references that become one of the 3 teams. So we'll see what goes on with that. There's obviously prize pool breakdown and everything else in here, which I'm looking forward to. I like these tournaments, but they're just kind of too. This stuff doesn't really interest me. I'll enjoy the finals of the tournament, like the last couple rounds, but I don't.
You like an edited version.
I need a TLDR.
So I've got something here. So I've been converting my dad from satellite, right, from like DirecTV over to a Fire TV.
Oh, that's great.
And so the thing is he looks at it and he's like, oh, but what about, they always want to do a direct comparison. The thing is you've been using DirecTV, so like your list of, I like these things is purely just what's on the DirecTV and what they're serving you, right? So I'm like, okay, well, you can get an app for your NFL, you can get an app for NHL, you can get.
That's actually not true, by the way, with the NFL.
Yes, well, they do have an app, but you have to pay for some stuff.
You can't in America. You can't purchase it. Just be aware with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he doesn't care so much about that, but. Like we went onto the NHL app, and they have a condensed version of games that you can go and watch.
Yes, that is like a
10-minute. It's a 10-minute version of the game, so that you don't have to watch all. If you want to watch the whole thing, you can watch it live, or you can watch the whole thing. But if you just want to catch the highlights, or, all the scores and things like that, you can. You can go through and watch that. So I thought that was interesting. It was like a TLDR.
You know who does that too is Facebook does that with baseball games. They do a recap, which I enjoy. If I do, I think the Yankees are playing right now. Actually, no, they're playing at 8:00, so I won't miss the whole game. But they do a recap of the game, and it's the important hits and home runs, which is quick. It's 3, 4, or 5 minute video. Which I think is pretty cool.
And I actually got him a box that connects into his TV, and it will interface with Plex. So it's like a DVR for regular television, and it shows you a full schedule. You can say, I want to record this and it catches over the air, records it, puts it on your DVR, on your Plex for you.
Cool.
It's pretty incredible. And you can stream it really easy in an app. So you can say, I want to watch this live, or I want to go save it, in the future, watch it afterwards. I'm getting jealous of his setup. I'm going to have to start buying some more.
I'm sure your wife will love that. Cord Cutters is, welcome to our new podcast. And all joking aside, the Cord Cutters podcast is actually pretty good if you're seriously interested in that with Brian Brushwood.
Yes.
All right. Game giveaway.
All right.
Time.
So anyway, let's go and get this. So exclamation point giveaway in chat. We will do a 60, and I'm making a change to it. You have to follow the channel to be able to win.
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
And so if you go in there and you try to enter, because there's probably people that watch us every week and they don't even follow the channel and they don't realize it.
Same
so
people that don't
if you want
play
to
game
enter
every week when they own the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing Ryse Son of Rome. This is a game that is very positive ratings on Steam, and it is it's made under CryEngine, but it's a quick time events Rome action third person game. So you can do it. It works with a controller. So if you are playing over a Steam Link or something like that, or you use a controller on your computer, it does have Xbox 360 and Xbox One controller support. So,
yes.
But recommended. Hey, Firebomb recommends it. So,
we know his other game recommendation. By the way, Ryse Son of Rome was actually and I'm not saying this to discourage people from the giveaway. I don't know why this would discourage them. This was actually one of the very few. There was like 3 launch titles for the Xbox One in 2013. Ryse Son of Rome was one of them. And that when that came out, people hated it. I don't know why. Because they're like, hey, I spent $600 on this damn Xbox, and I can play Ryse Son of Rome or crap, whatever the other game was, something 4. It's Dead Rising. It was Dead Rising 4, Ryse Son of Rome, or something else. There was not. There was very, very limited. A game selection. So,
but it has very positive ratings overall. Very positive for almost 12,000.
Yeah, that's good. So there you go, game giveaway. If you're not tuning in live, maybe you're catching this on a podcast or on YouTube, you can join us live every Tuesday. We're here live right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join the giveaway, hang out in the chat, interact, and do your thing. We're here every Tuesday with that. So that's the PUBG, PGI is the name of it, the PUBG Global Invitational Berlin 2018. It's going to be huge. It'll rival some of it's not going to be as big as PGL, but I'm sure it'll rival it. And obviously incredibly popular. And I guess that begs the question is, when is Fortnite going to be doing their global invitational thing? Hopefully they do it in Raleigh. That'd be fantastic.
Well, look at they had these hosted by streamers ones that were looked like they were pretty well attended.
Yeah, well, yeah, they
viewed.
Yeah, well, but those aren't really hosted by Fortnite. Those were out in Vegas. Those are being put out by the Luxor.
Well, and also
Ninja
was doing it as well. So, but that's the thing is
in Vegas.
You've got people that are hosting it themselves. I don't know. Does Epic really want to get into that?
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like Epic is willing and wants to shy away from anything. It seems like if there's an opportunity for them to do something, they've got the resources, they've sure as hell got the money to pretty much do whatever they damn well please. So maybe if they want to,
it'd be interesting to see how they do that. Because I think the game itself has been the whole time, it seems like, in a stable enough state to do it.
Oh yeah.
A lot of these games, you look at it and the thing is, that's not stable enough. It's not in a position to where you'd want to do it. Even with H1Z1, they barely, they were saying, we're trying to get it stable enough before that first tournament.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
And they managed to pull it off. But I think that you're looking at something like Fortnite. It's been in a stable state, and I think it's good to go. So I think for them, it's just, it's probably they're probably already working on it.
They
probably haven't announced it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how soon after, if at all, if they do something similar.
So with PUBG, they did come out with update number 13 this week. So on the 17th, they put this out. There were some gameplay changes that they did. So you can attach the lightweight grip and the half grip to the Vector now. They did some weapon balance adjustments here. First shot from the M16 now has less recoil. They decreased the spread of shotgun pellets. Now, that's one thing, though, that's interesting is that the first shot is different. They have it to where they can actually adjust down to how many shots. So it shows you how particular. A lot of times these companies will just say, oh, just, it's this amount of randomness. But they're going in and saying, okay, first shot is this much, probably trying to replicate possibly what it close to is a real gun, or they're just finding that it's better playing doing that. But yeah, they decreased the spread of the shotgun pellets. Then the shotgun chokes and duckbills are now less effective at decreasing spread. So the effective spread for a shotgun will with a choke or duckbill will be similar to before. So they were trying to make it with the choke, making it more like before this last change that they did to the shotgun. They did add a customization gear tab. So there you can go and equip parachute skins. This is something they already had in the mobile version. So I think for some reason they had it in there. So now they're adding it to where you actually can do it in the desktop version. Tooltips for weapon attachments have been edited to make them more intuitive. But I would wonder how many languages do they have this in? I wonder. They probably have it in quite a few languages.
I remember they were adding them like crazy.
They did add Ukrainian here. So if you speak Ukrainian, you can now play in your local language. Also, game lobbies support multiple languages. Multiple languages will be applied to various lobby components, such as the lobby menus, the play, customization, store, etc., the options menu, and the crates. 19 different. Oh, here we go. The answer. 19 different languages are supported. So they have 19 different languages in the game right now. They did some bug fixes that look like they're fairly minor, but they also added a new crate. And one thing I like here, because they're based out of China, they have to tell the percentage chances. Since it is a form of gambling, China kind of recognizes it as that. And so they require that you actually state the percentages of your chance to receive that item or your chance to win on there. So on the aviator crate, they have new outfits in there. It's in the store menu. Requires an aviator key to open it, though. And then on the test server for testing purposes, they provide you with 100,000 of the coins, the tickets, 20,000 skin keys, 20 skin keys, 20 early bird keys, 20 aviator keys, and 10 aviator crates to do the test counts so they can see people doing it in mass. So if you want to go check it out, you could log into the test server and then you could open some of these just to see what they look like on your character. But down here, I mean, your highest percentage chance is the patty cap, down to a 0.16 of 1% chance of getting the fringed hot pants.
Oh boy.
So yeah. So that's, that's going to show you the range. You've got 3 items that are 20%, 2 items that are 10%, 3 items that are 4.5%, a 2.5% item, 2 1.3% items, and then a 0.6% item, 2.32% items, and then a 0.16% item. So, and then they added a new parachute skin, the Bengal Tiger. So it's got probably match that new map with the Asian region that they're in. But that can be purchased separately. So you can get that for $4.99. Prices will slightly change based on the region, or it can be purchased, and it can only be purchased once per account because you can't skin it twice. Also, it's unable to trade. You can't go and sell it in Steam since it is a purchased item. And if you go to store in game items, you can buy it. Also, it says, remember that the target practice pan skin will no longer be available after the planned 5/17 date. So this past week, you can no longer obtain that target practice pan skin. Yeah. Actually, since the 18th, they moved it one day. So it's the 18th when they stopped letting you get that.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, and that's because I think there was an issue with purchasing that they ran into. So they just moved it out one day. Yeah. For people that maybe were being procrastinators and didn't buy it the last day. Now
they also did they brought back a mode that they tried doing probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, which was their war mode, which is a mode. There's 50 players in the game, and it's a respawn mode, and the goal is to get a certain amount of points, not obviously getting kills gets you points, but kills and deaths don't really matter per se. It's whoever gets to 200 points first. They did it a couple weeks ago. Servers were crashing, so they did another one this weekend, or last weekend rather. It started May 17th and it ended on May 20th. So they did another one of those. This one appeared to be more successful, and we already talked a little bit about how this game mode works. Which I think is pretty cool. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to play it. I was pretty tied up this weekend. But I would imagine this is going to be one of the game modes that will probably stick because it's different. It's very well, and you would make the argument it's very different from anything else in PUBG. So this
is where I think what they're doing is playtesting all these things, figuring it out. And what I think they'll do is then you can go in and jump into a random. Or like they had the thing where you can select saying, I don't want this one in my, less likely to do this one or don't do this one in my one thing. But I think they're just going to get it to where you can go in and say, all right, let's play some games, and you'll just get an alternating set of maps, an alternating set of game modes. So you don't feel like you're playing the same thing over and over again. Because I think that's what they're really trying to fight. So you don't feel like it's just the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah. Because in reality it is. I mean, that's
and we see that. I mean, we play a game to death. And so we played PUBG for quite some time. We played
every night
of King of the Kill. Yeah. And we would play many games a night. And after a while, you're like, it's just the same thing. I'm going to the same places. It may seem like a lot of places the first time you land, but then you realize, I'm only really going to 6 different places, possibly, maybe, and doing the exact same thing, going to the exact same center. And, having that variety in there will keep some people playing for longer periods of time. So, all right. And I think that's it for PUBG.
That is it. Yeah.
One thing I was going to mention, this actually kind of came out today, but We Happy Few had an issue where Australia is not classifying them. They refused classification, which is pretty much their rating system of saying, this is like we have Peggy 18 and things like that.
It means it won't be sold.
Yeah, so they will not even they won't sell it there. And this is something that just got announced today. Officially it happened. We do have a statement that came from them saying that we acknowledge that this happened, and they're trying to work with them to get this to be actually released. They said if it comes down to it, they'll turn around and they will give refunds to people in Australia. They'll figure out what they're going to do with the people on Kickstarter. They'll figure something out. But honestly, I mean, having played this game and knowing what's in it, I don't understand why they said because there's sex, drugs, and rock and roll in it. I mean,
yeah, that's pretty much what the board said.
But if you look, it's not. I've seen much worse games. I mean, they're classifying games that are sitting there and slaughtering people, having blood everywhere.
Guarantee Gears of War was classified in Australia. I mean, those games were incredibly gruesome. I mean, you literally are in the camera zooms in as close as you can get. You are chainsawing a person apart in multiplayer, by the way, not single player, but literally multiplayer. I mean, it's insane.
But what is interesting is if you really think of that first scene that's in We Happy Few, what is he doing? He's sitting there and redacting information from society that they find offensive.
Isn't that interesting?
And what is Australia doing? They're saying, we find this offensive. We are redacting this. You are not allowed to show this here.
It's quite ironic, actually.
I thought it was very ironic that they were doing that. It's got a modern theme on this. They say, includes addiction, mental health, drug abuse, which is, it's not like someone sitting there with a heroin needle hanging out of their arm.
It's talking about,
this game is talking about how society, the government is trying to control its citizens through the use of opioids. I mean,
ding, ding, ding. We might be shut down. We cannot broadcast to Australia.
And so they're then saying, resist giving in and think for yourself. It's the same thing as saying there's the books, the one that was about, was it Fahrenheit 461? I think
the fire.
It was about
Fire Crew, yeah.
When it was about burning books. It's an old 60s movie, but it was kind of about the future, and they're burning books and they're trying to silence and control what people know and think. And it'd be like saying that's offensive. Also, he's got on here, it's no different than Brave New World, by Huxley, Fahrenheit 451, which was by Ray Bradbury, is a very forward-thinking show. And this reminds me, they're telling a similar story to that. And I can't imagine someone saying, we're going to ban that book.
Well, I just find it interesting.
Odd.
I mean, maybe this is out of ignorance, I guess, Brian, on both of our parts, but I can't recently recall a game that was blocked. I have heard of this board before. I don't remember what it was. I feel like maybe we talked about it. Maybe I just read it of them blocking something in the past, but I would not classify We Happy Few as as they're saying,
it's cartoonish. It's not crazy drug use that's going to make it'd be the same as somebody sitting there and drinking a beer on a game.
If, for case in point, if GTA is allowed in Australia, that game is literally sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, you can killing hookers. I mean, that's obviously that's.
Well, I'm just wondering who did they not pay off?
Yeah, clearly, yeah. This is. I mean, that's what this is. This is crony capitalism.
Seems like that's what it comes down to. Is obviously these guys I don't think they don't have the budget that Rockstar has, and I'm sure that it kind of shows you the hypocrisy of the system, where it probably comes down to like, who are you willing to pay off? Are you willing to purchase this rating? And it's kind of frustrating. It's just that, I mean, it's in Australia, so it's going to affect. I mean, it's going to affect Joe. It's not going to affect that many people that we know, but it's sad that they feel like they can do this, and they're really showing their hand when they do it with a game like this.
And as PH is saying, they don't like the anti-government games over there. I mean, that's what this is. This is an it's a cartoon, for Christ's sakes. I mean, this game is very, very cartoonish. It's not meant to be any type of reality, but that is clearly.
They're not talking about any specific government. They're not pushing a political side.
The policemen are clowns, literally clowns.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's not like they're pushing a certain side.
Insanity.
It's just odd that they did it. And I think that, I don't know, will there be blowback from this? I mean, is the Australian government going to even really care? I'm really surprised. And I'm glad that they're not saying, well, we're going to take out the offensive parts for Australia. They're saying, you know what? We just won't offer it in Australia. If they don't like the game that we provided, we won't offer it there. And that's fine. Australia is going to lose out on it. Hopefully the thing that it comes down to is Australia has voted people in that think this way. And so you kind of get what you vote in. I mean, not to go to politics, and I don't know anything about the Australian government and their politics. So I'm not saying, this is some hidden thing I'm trying to say. But honestly, the fact that you vote in people that make these decisions like this in the safety of you, supposedly they're doing this to protect you from yourself. This is what it ends up with. This is what this whole game is about.
Well, and you can't look at a game like if I were to say, oh, the Australian board banned GTA, I'd be like, you know what? That's not the craziest thing in the world.
I could understand.
GTA
there's incredible debauchery in
yes. GTA. And if that was the case, I wouldn't agree with it, but I'd say, okay, I can get it. I mean, I can figure out my way there. This game, I literally can't rationalize with this at all. Great. I mean, just there you go. That's the kind of government you want to be living under. Like, oh, this game kind of shows what we do. Nope.
So now when we tell Joe if he's going to be moving to freedom, we'll
they must put something in the water. Putting something in the water over there, Brian. Keep people in line.
Yep.
All right. I saw that interesting. I saw that on Reddit this morning, and I was like, damn, that's insane.
And it is set to release, so it'll be in the summer of this year. They were supposed to do it last month, but they said, they delayed it out, which I'm fine with. I'd rather, being that this is it's pretty much a single player game that you go through the whole story. I don't want them to release and say, oh, but we're going to put out a patch to it later to fix it. I mean, I've seen games do that, to where they release 3/4 of a game and then they put out a patch a month or two later, or even 6 months later, pretty much completing the game. I mean, we could say that happened with No Man's Sky, right? I've heard people play it lately and they're saying, oh, it's actually pretty good now. Well, they released it too early and it was so unfinished that the people that played it had an unenjoyable experience. I don't want to go through, especially with a story-driven game, to where you're unfolding things, you're learning things, you're getting this whole story told to you. I don't want it partially done and then saying, oh, but we fixed it 6 months later in a patch. You get to go replay the whole thing again to see how we intended it. I'm glad that they're actually waiting on this, because this will be an offline, play at your own pace game.
It is. And we have seen this time and time again with games. This is
PhD bring up Sea of Thieves. People said it's a very shallow game.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was the hottest thing on Twitch for 48, 72 hours and then gone. The Division, again, another game with literally nothing to do.
Now, but that's the thing. Now it is.
Well, and it's the same argument with any.
But the thing is, you got to the end game, you beat it, and then it's like, okay, what, I'm supposed to just grind here for a slightly better gun over and over and over again?
I mean, we've talked about it with Conan extensively. I mean, these games, I just don't get why these stupid game developers keep releasing crap that is not done. I mean, look at Radical Heights. I mean, it was the same damn thing. Like, I'm literally putting out a game that is a quarter of the way finished in alpha. And then, after a month, 30 days, I'm going to shut it down. I mean, what kind of insane reality are we living in? I mean, finish your damn product and people will buy it. Case in point, this State of Decay 2, good game or bad game, is a finished product. Good or bad. You can
trust the reviews. That's the thing, is you can trust the reviews as far as at least they're playing the same version. It's hard when you, as you said with Conan, is that review based on the original Conan Exiles? Is that based on how it's now released? Because I think what you'll find is you talk to people and you go play it, it's a drastically different game than it was when it was released a year ago. When it originally started coming out a year ago. It's such a different game that if you go in and play now people are playing. And one thing that Deacon told me, he's like, there's so much depth to it. There's so much, like I'm always talking about time sinks. He's like, there's so many time sinks in this game.
Yeah.
And that's what a game like that needs. They realized it. They realized where its shortages were, why we wouldn't keep playing it, because there weren't enough time sinks in there, and they put them in there.
Bingo.
And so now there's a game. But imagine if they would have released initially with that stuff. They would have had a huge player base the whole time, just like Ark. Ark mastered that originally. They had the time sinks the whole time, and they kept a decent number of players for years.
And they still do.
And people are still playing it.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is you have to release with enough to keep people busy to where they don't sit there and talking about the Division. That's exactly what happened. People got there and then, now I'm just supposed to go into this zone and constantly PvP over and over and over again. People just kind of lost interest in it.
I don't get how we can sit here and watch the same thing done over and over and over and over again. And there's some different result is expected. I mean, that's the definition of insanity. Like, we're going to release a half-baked game, and then when it has a terrible launch, and then when it's finally done, people don't want to play it. It's a problem with we talked about the H1Z1 for months. The original impression of H1Z1 Just Survive was awful. Awful. And there's people I guarantee you there are people that played it originally that have not opened it since.
Yeah.
They probably have less than a few hours in the game.
Well, that's the thing is there's a huge number. I mean, King of the Kill, there's a lot of people that played it very recently, right? Those numbers, a lot of those are recent, but Just Survive, like huge number of purchases early, and then people quit playing it. And so there's tons of people that have it in their library that, imagine if they went in there now. If they went and played it now and they went and saw what Just Survive is, they'd be like, is this the game that I purchased, a couple of years ago now? Like, it's not even the same game anymore.
Yeah.
Not that would improve, but.
Exactly.
All right. So 7 Days to Die. I've been hoping for an update.
What do we find out?
I think that the update is going to happen by like July-ish.
Okay, perfect. Where's your notebook?
I don't have it here, but I have a piece of paper right here.
Okay. Brian, this needs to make it into the notebook. Like I need a visual image of this in the notebook. our Newegg notebooks from PAX last year. You're saying July.
I think it, from everything I could tell, it looks like they're going to release Alpha 17 in July.
I will go for September of 2018.
So that'll be, I mean, that's like over a year. That'll be a year. I think they last released in September.
Perfect. Give me 12 months. Give me 12 months, September. PH says 2019. All right, so
there's no hint that they're releasing like in the next month that I could see.
So this is now in the official infection time capsule of consciousness.
I have July.
Yeah.
You have September.
And PH is 2019. I'm just genuinely curious. I always think this is fun when we are able to kind of guesstimate time on something. Oh, no, this is Alpha 17.
So I got in there.
Godov's asking, is this Alpha 17 or stay without? We're talking Alpha 17.
No, this is Alpha 17. This is even just coming out with their next Alpha. Now, do you think that they're going to have an Alpha 18?
I can't even begin to.
I mean,
estimate.
Honestly, I think that the reason they're putting so much time in this, I think it's going to be Alpha 17 out, maybe 1.0.
That okay. I mean, I could live with that.
But that is my. Should I be that? Should that be part of my prediction?
You can narrow your prediction down to nothingness at any given point. I mean, that'd be fine.
Okay, so I think that this is going to be their. I think that's the reason that they're trying to fit so much into this one patch, that they are going to be leaving experimental.
So you're saying this is their last big experimental patch?
Yes. And where they go to, where they call it 1.0 or whatever, but I think this is them leaving experimental.
Yeah. So
whether they call it out of alpha, whatever.
Exactly.
It's all just different names now for the same thing.
Now we did get some images yesterday of this. So what are we looking at here, Brian? Walk us through.
So they went in and they actually made new trees. So if you look in there, they're much bigger trees than were in there before. They look much better. I mean, the other ones you could go up in the bark. You know, they had like pictures of bark. They were scanned. So that looked good, but the trees themselves didn't look very good before. So, so what they do is just to kind of explain. He talks about they billboard way better too. I'll explain what that means. I feel so tiny in the world now that these trees are so much bigger than the old ones. So billboarding is, you have what's called level of detail in these. So the farther you get away as a player, so maybe if you can go the one that's overlooking the water, you can see there. So you have the one that's up close. Let's say that's a level of detail 0 or a level of detail 1. That's the highest quality version of it.
Yeah.
That'll be the top, most tries or topology on there.
All of the information about that tree is being loaded to you.
Everything, all the detail is there. And then as you get farther away, that'd be a really big waste to show all those other trees in the exact same level of detail, because you can't see that detail, right?
Yeah.
So then you have one that possibly is a level of detail 2 there where he circled it. So the next one out is maybe a level of detail 2 or maybe even 3, depending on how many they have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's actually much lower res. If you were standing right next to it, you would see a lot of the details gone out of the tree, but you can't tell because you're so far away. And then you move farther away, maybe the ones on the far left shore there, you can see that that's probably level of detail 3 or 4. And it's going out, and it's a much lower quality. If you got up close, like everything would be kind of blurred together. All those little details and branches would be kind of a blob. Yes. And then you get to the very farthest away ones, and that's what they're calling the billboard, to where they're not even really 3D objects.
It's a flat
picture.
Image. Yeah.
It's a flat image of the trees out there, like a billboard on the side of the street. So that's the billboard level. So those are the different levels as you do that. That's how they get that kind of performance, to where when you run out here, it's doing that with buildings, it's doing it everything. That's how they're able to do it in PUBG with the mobile versions. But they do that quite extensively to make it so you can see this level of detail in the game and not have it crash out all of your processor and your video card doing it. So that's what he means when he talks about billboard.
Well, that was very informative. Thank you for that, Brian. I'm sure most people don't really understand how that kind of works. So that's useful to know.
Yeah. So I mean that kind of helps you understand. And that means that they went through and did the work to, all right, when you're this distance away, they went through and made sure they optimized that, which makes it a much better makes it so trees don't pop in funny all of a sudden. You want them to smoothly transition from one to the other to where you don't even notice that it's happening. And hopefully that's, I can, this game, it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, it'll be the 1 year anniversary since we really played it heavily, probably. Cause I think we played it last when this version
September.
released, the current one. So we'll set up a server again and we'll get people playing like crazy, for a period of time. And hopefully there's enough in here, a lot of new stuff. The world's never been beautiful. But it sounds like they're, maybe at least with the trees, that'll help make the environment look a little bit better. So
yes, and our friend, the reason I saw this is because our friend Heisenberg tweeted at Joel and said, "I love trees," and then Brian, of course, took that to respond to Heisenberg and say, "I love release dates."
Yes,
which is just a very, very backhanded comment.
Backhanded, yeah.
That's fine. It's totally justified. It's totally justified. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, a year, 12 months.
Yep. I don't know. This has been an abnormally long one.
Yeah. And now again, it could come out and it could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we'd have to maybe eat some of our words.
They're not they're not going and like doubling the graphics.
No.
Like they're adding features. Man, they could really go through. Like if they went through and they said we redid all of the ground textures, and like that would be the thing to do.
Yeah. Because
the textures are so. If you look at their buildings, like everything's like Minecraft sometimes. Like some of the stuff is
worse than Minecraft.
Yeah, some of it is. And so you go in there, like they've not put any effort. And the thing is Joel is the guy, one of the main guys on there. He's not a graphics guy. And I hear him say, "Oh, I went and made this today." You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just because he's making stuff and he's like, "I want to put this in there, so I'm going to make it today," rather than handing it off to a graphics guy and saying, "Can you design this for me?"
It's called delegation.
He's just making it.
I have the same problem at work. Delegate.
That's the thing is, but the thing is he's doing it himself rather than having somebody else do it for him. And so he doesn't have the graphical ability not that I don't want to call him a professional, but doesn't have the graphical ability of a professional to go in there and put highly textured and beautiful art, because it's not. So, and you can look at that game. It's very block based.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It's not an aesthetically pleasing game, and we've seen this,
but it is fun. The mechanics, they're good.
Bingo. And this is kind of the concept. You can overlook poor graphics and poor sound or whatever if you've got a really solid.
But imagine if they had a graphics guy that was just kind of chipping away.
Oh no,
beautifying this game the whole time.
I agree with
you.
You.
Night and day difference.
I agree with you completely. But I think the point I'm trying to illustrate is you don't have to have the best concept, the best mechanics, the best graphics, and the best art to have a good game. You can have. I think they've got great mechanics for that game. It's so smooth. Somebody like me that doesn't grind.
Minecraft had excellent mechanics to where people just enjoy playing it with the worst graphics.
This is the true mix of Minecraft and zombie survival. That's what 7 Days to Die is. I do not grind in video games under almost any circumstance. I love 7 Days to Die, and I will play it religiously when we get that server up when this build comes out. It's that kind of game. It hooks you. Very few games do I get really, really hooked by, but 7 Days is one of them. And I don't know why. It's not because the game looks good. It's just I don't know. It just pulls you right in. It's got a great hook. Yep. And I don't know what it is.
But the thing is, we have to wait long enough between plays to where you kind of
about 12 months actually
get it out of your system, and then you play again. It's just one of those games. We 7 days. We play it for 7 days, and then we stop for a year.
Yeah.
So, all right. One thing I was going to mention, Arc. They didn't have. I mean, it's kind of in a post-release schedule, so they're not adding anything new. But they did say major Primitive Plus update with a number of fixes, incorporating a major base game patch, incorporation of major game base game patches, as well as total conversion functionality, including Ingrams on Aberration and Scorched Earth. So they have that on there. They fixed for dinos starving when they have access to food. Bag size limit it has been increased to 600 slots, and forced one-time mind wipe due to recent balance changes. So that'll be on the official servers. There will be a mind wipe. And then was doing a little digging and I mean, it wasn't super amount of digging, but I did notice this. They said here that Primitive Plus is essentially in its finished state now. And so other than addressing bugs as they arise. So they did do a big Primitive Plus patch here, but they had announced back in January that Primitive Plus was pretty much done. So don't expect any major changes. I bet you this was them kind of getting it up to a state to be compatible with everything, get it to where everything was incorporated into it. But I think that's kind of it for Primitive Plus, other than it's just going to exist and be the mod that it is. So
That's exciting.
yeah, I mean, it's a very extensive mod.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they've got it to where it does everything that they want. So there were some people that were complaining, they promised some more things with it. I think they're done with it. And do you think they're kind of done in general? I mean, I still haven't heard anything really being announced. It's not like they're talking about anything big next. I mean, maybe there's a surprise.
No, and I think we either talked publicly or privately about this, that I would assume the studio Wildcard is working on something else.
Well, don't they have one more? Don't they have one more
DLC to do?
DLC that they're going to be doing? Because
they might be.
They did Ragnarok is a free thing. It's not the part of the DLC. They're supposed to do 3, and so they've got Scorched Earth, Aberration, and so there should be one more paid DLC. So that's probably what they're working on right now. And they're very good at keeping things quiet up until the last minute. So I bet you that is that's what they're working on.
Oh, very, very well, maybe. I just I don't really know what else. I don't really know what else they could be doing at this point.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I bet you it's just that DLC, whatever it is. All right. Now, one thing that there was one update here from Miscreated that came out. And this is more of a future thing that's coming up. But in the next update that they're putting out, they and it was much better, like compared to when we played it last time.
I know. I'm trying to find.
They did improve.
Trying to see if I took a picture of. I didn't take any pictures of the UI when we played last time. Damn.
But Terry Evans, who works at the company, he put a screenshot out here that shows the new UI, inventory UI that's coming, to where you can mouse over an item and it shows you all the different stats for that item, and it looks a lot better. So that's one thing that they were really lacking on originally, was a good UI. It was very uncomfortable to use it. Still, it feels very Arma-ish to me.
Clunky.
Yeah, the way that the ammo works and just everything else. The clan system. I mean, look at there. There's the clan system. That they just had a grouping system before. I mean, it was the equivalent of a grouping system now. So maybe they're actually going to incorporate some new features. Nisco points out, why is there a scroll bar? They could have extended that to be bigger left and right and not put a scroll. They could have barely made it bigger and not have to have a scroll bar. So I don't know.
They just seem to have an issue with not user friendliness. I mean, I understand the game is supposed to be hardcore, and I can look past certain game elements for this, but I mean, this is the UI.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it does.
It looks such a beautiful world. In the
know.
Game.
Like, that's what's so frustrating.
And it does look better, but like when you guys are sitting down and mapping out and drawing up this design, why wouldn't you say, okay, well, why don't we just move that out, 1 more inch wide, and then you wouldn't have to have a scroll bar in there. Okay. Or why don't you maybe scale, as if you get to maybe scale it down a little bit, the icon sizes, just to make it so that you can fit, or put a limit on the max number of icons you can have on the screen, the number of items you can carry, so that you don't go over the certain amount. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know, but it is an improvement. I mean, it's better than it was before.
It
but
is
an improvement. There's some things they could have looked at it and just done a few things differently.
Yeah, and I think that's most of my frustration with it. Is it's just like, you've got such a beautiful game and everything is great except the UI sucks.
The storage and the storage system.
Yeah, well, that's. But I'm saying, like, visually, like everything
is good.
Is good.
Yeah.
Except,
But the thing is that
UI.
they dropped the ball on mechanics, right? So they did the opposite of 7 Days to Die.
Yes,
They dropped the
literally.
ball on mechanics and went all for looks.
Yeah.
But the mechanics aren't good.
You know what
And
this?
so, but if you take the opposite game of it, imagine if the mechanics of 7 Days to Die was as good looking as Miscreated.
You want to know what this reminds me of, Brian? This UI style with the orange glow. It reminds me of an early 2000s like hot rod form, like running My BB or V Bulletin. That's what this looks like with this stupid neon orange undershadow. What the hell are you doing? It is not 2003. It's 2018. Have you been to the iOS App Store this year? This isn't what UIs look like. I mean, there's literally a freaking neon orange drop shadow under the inventory. What are they doing? This is not a modern UI. This is not modern.
Well, and I don't know how difficult the tools are to work with in CryEngine, but I've not seen any other CryEngine games really struggle this much with the UI. So I don't know what it is. If they just don't have anybody who's extremely competent in it, you figured they would be able to draw UI out and get it fairly close.
Yeah.
To what they drew.
Yeah, this is just not.
I don't know.
This just is not a good look. This looks like early to mid 2000s. Just like, oh, the internet is new. Like, oh, wow, check out this stroke on this image and the drop shadow and this GIF. It's like great. So it's just a little frustrating. I mean, I really enjoy the game. It's just frustrating.
Well, and we'll see. I mean, their time is not being spent. The one thing I have in here is a thing about Rebel Horizon. Actually, we can just talk about it really quick. Some screenshots. Mm-hmm. But the other title that company is working on, Entrada, they are working on Rebel Horizons. Now, this one is in Unreal Engine.
Different.
Yes, and it's with Spatial OS. So there's some pictures, some screenshots here that you can see of the environment, which still looks like a very good-looking environment. A little bit different art style, but this is done in Unreal. And so you can tell they're definitely going to they're trying to show you a world and, welcome to Red Sands, and it's got some other language on there.
A hell of an environment team.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's in there, right? So that's another title. So maybe, they just have a few guys kind of on the side once in a while working on the forest, and most of the time is spent doing that.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting.
So, yeah. So, I mean, that's an upcoming one. So one thing I wanted to talk about, remember the game we talked about called Ruin? It's the one made by the Rust team.
Oh, yes.
So that has been canceled.
Oh, no.
So they are no longer, there is a video. It's a 4-minute video. We don't really have time to go over it. But he goes through and talks about it a little bit, but they have canceled that game, and I guess I can run through the cliff notes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Why? So what they did is because they said because of the toxic environment of the Rust players, they didn't want the game to become that, and they said that there's was a high chance that it would become that, right? Just because of what it is. And they were like, they didn't want to release a game that was not going to be done in a good way. They wouldn't be able to put the time into it, and their attention, they said that pretty much their attention spans are not long enough, that they wouldn't really be able to make it the game that they envisioned. So they just pulled it. So, but a lot of it came down to, they just knew that people were going to play, and they didn't want to be fighting against the system, trying to make it not that. Because I think they've accepted the fact that they cannot release a game that is not filled with trolls. Because if you look at Gary's mod, you look at Rust, it is just every game they've released so far, because of the way that they do updates and the way that they implement things and the way that they don't control things. Somehow they just turn into that with them. I mean, this originally was a zombie game. This game has, if you look at I'm not Ruin, but if you look at Rust, Rust was originally a zombie game. It has beautiful graphics. Really, if you look past what it is, they've done a very good job of the environment in Rust. But because of the way Rust is, like, you don't even see that stuff.
No, you just see a bunch of dongs flinging around in the wind.
Yeah, and arrows coming at you and just killing you.
It's
And the thing is they built this beautiful world that you don't even get to see, because that's not what the game is about. The game is not about exploring and adventuring and seeing the world. The game's just about trolling the person next to you and anyone that you can find.
Which is fun.
People are which is fun, but they're so blind. Why waste your time with the world? I mean, honestly, they don't need to put all that time into making the world look beautiful, because no one cares that plays Rust. They don't care at all. And so I think that with this, they realize we're just putting all this time into something that, once again, is not going to be appreciated for what it is. Who knows what they'll turn it into? Our players will pick it up because we made it, and they're just going to ruin it. It's going to be the name of the game.
Pretty much
will become what the game is. The Rust player base would ruin the game, and so they said we're not going to move forward.
That really sucks.
Yeah, and they were doing something. They've got a good platform. The thing is, they wanted to make Ruin because they could use the platform that they already built with Rust. But I think they realized, because of what Rust is, then people would say, "Oh, I can play this and it's easy," and then they would go right into their Rust ways.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate, but I would imagine their team will start working on something else. It may be totally different, because I mean, as different as Ruin was going to be, it still would have had a very similar.
They're going to have to do something that's incredibly different.
Yes, absolutely.
And they almost have to make it so drastically different how it feels, so that people that are in Rust don't come in and say, "Oh, this feels like home." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you don't want to make it, your house feel like the local, wherever people that you don't like are hanging out.
Okay.
So just stay away from me.
There you go.
So you don't want your house to be look like the homeless shelter and then people wander it. I mean, that's pretty much what Rust would be with Ruin.
That's one way to say it. Well, that's unfortunate about Rust. Well, hopefully they start working on something else.
Ruin.
Ruin. That's unfortunate about Ruin. Hopefully the Rust team starts working on something else, because they seem like they've got a hell of a talented group of people there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I look at the Rust, like the pictures that they put out, the stuff they're putting on the map. I'm like, that would be so cool if the point of the game was to go and find that stuff, but the game is nothing. Like, I get in there and I'm the guy who likes to look around, but I just feel like I can't even do it. I go into Rust and I feel like I can't even, I get frustrated wandering around just because stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, a game that is not necessarily survival, but it is arguably one of the biggest games.
In our wheelhouse.
It's in our wheelhouse. It's arguably one of the most successful game franchises of all time. And that, of course, is the Call of Duty franchise. They did their public unveiling of Black Ops 4 late last week, it would have been probably Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And no, sorry, not Friday the 13th, PH. That's next. So the Call of Duty franchise. And it was speculated that this game would have a battle royale mode. I think everybody knows what Call of Duty is outside of that. So they did not fail. There is going to be a battle royale mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Its codename as of right now is called Blackout, which I actually like that it doesn't. It's kind of like Fortnite. It doesn't include the word battle royale or survival or anything. Yeah. I do actually really like the name Blackout. It's kind of a cool name.
And they went for their own. Are you going to not play the video?
No, we'll play the video.
Okay, because I like how he explained it in there of not being like anyone else.
Yes. So here is the video. Of course, if you remember, Activision is the publisher behind this, and they're owned by Blizzard. Activision Blizzard is one company. So I'm going to roll the trailer real quick for Blackout, which is the battle royale mode coming up in Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
TACOM, recon requesting attack chopper CAS.
Strike team are cleared to deploy.
Going off grid.
Check fire. Check fire.
Kill all of them.
We all love Black Ops for its combat experience. But imagine if we took that gameplay experience you know and love, and we spun it on its head. We don't have to describe how Battle Royale works. These games are no secret. We play them too. But for us to even consider this kind of experience, it had to be unique and done in a way only Black Ops could do. A survival game with the best, most refined mechanics in the world. Our signature controls and gameplay systems, and the kind of fast-paced action that only Call of Duty can deliver. All in the biggest map we've ever made. And that is just the beginning. We're bringing to bear 10 years worth of Black Ops universe features. Your favorite characters, your favorite weapons, iconic parts of your favorite maps. And we're putting them all in one place, a crazy collision of fun, and letting you navigate it with land, sea, and air vehicles. Something you haven't experienced before. This is something totally new. This is doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way. This is Blackout.
All right, so that is Blackout, and it's no surprise that a Call of Duty trailer incredibly overhypes what it actually is going to look like. Because it's just the Call of Duty way.
All these freeze frames and like weird representations.
Yeah, this is the most. By the way, they didn't say it in this trailer, but there's something that has never been done before in a Call of Duty game, and that is drivable vehicles in a multiplayer aspect. That's never been done before in a Call of Duty. So there's going to be land, air, and sea vehicles that you can actually operate. Which, of course, if you're a Battlefield person. That's commonplace. PUBG, obviously, you could drive cars. So there are some big things, but it's just not. Here's the thing. It's going to be good because I think Activision knows how to produce good products. And this is Treyarch, but Activision has their hands in the development of this. Even though it's a Treyarch. Treyarch's the one actually making this game. So it'll be playable. Is it going to be better than Fortnite and PUBG? Probably not. It's just another BR game. The difference behind this one is when it releases, it will be, quote, done. And Activision has got more money than Jesus himself to spend on whatever they want to do with it. Money is not going to be an issue. I mean, I don't know. The comment in chat that COD BR will just boost Fortnite's popularity. Absolutely. I mean, all of these games coming out, this is not competition.
People into the genre.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing that's one thing is PUBG cannot say that Fortnite has drastically hurt them because there's so many more people now that are willing to play that type of a game that would never have picked up PUBG. Because the thing is, PUBG was too close to Arma. PUBG
was for the gamers. Fortnite is for the regular people. And that's just the reality. I mean, for example, I'm in a couple groups.
They brought in people that would never have come into the genre.
Literally, as we were sitting here speaking right now, one of my friends in a group chat that I played Xbox with years ago. Obviously, I still talk to him, but we played Xbox years ago, back in the Xbox 360 days. Video games is not a conversation that we have in this chat. He's asking, does anybody want to play Fortnite right now? I mean, that is the difference between Fortnite and PUBG. I'm sure he doesn't even know what the hell PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is. Knows what Fortnite is, though, and that's the difference. Fortnite is for the normies, which is good, because that brings people to the genre, and by the way, it holds Bluehost's ass accountable that they can't just slack off and say,
they can't turn into the H1Z1 mode that we ran into. It's like, we're the top in the market. We're not going to do anything.
Exactly. So that is the benefit of the quote unquote normies being brought into the market. That's what it's going to allow. I really do think the more of these games that come out, and Battlefield's going to do the same thing. So you're going to have EA, Activision, Epic Games. I mean, three of the largest either developers and or publishers in the world, all making a battle royale game. I mean, this genre is sky. We are living in the next thing right now. This is it. Battle Royale is the next thing. We're living in it.
Well, Zarawi, he says Fortnite's better than PUBG, fact. But the thing is you got to look at,
it's different.
And I've said this before. Look at what Fortnite did. They proved that here's a game that's made probably not perfectly, but as close to perfect as you can make it.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, the same way that Blizzard makes their games, they make them as well as you can make them for what they're on, right? I think
Overwatch.
we looked at, you look at Overwatch, very smooth. I mean, you don't run in there and say I've had problems all day with Overwatch. But the same thing, you could go look at the way PUBG was. People were playing it. They'd say, "Oh, it's crashing. It's doing all these things." You know what? That was Bluehole. Because you turn around and you take the exact same engine, the exact same type of mechanics. You look at Fortnite, the thing just works seamlessly.
Yeah.
I think for them, part of it was going in. Well, we want to prove that our engine, even to us, not that we're trying to prove it to the rest of the world. We need to make sure that our engine is capable of supporting all these games, and so they made one, and it ended up being the most popular one. And I think that's good. They set the bar really high, and I like that. I like it when they set the bar really high, because then these companies, as you were saying, they have to. All right, we got to try to get our chin up to that bar, rather than sitting there and just hanging on the bar like H1Z1 did. I mean, look at how long H1Z1 coasted.
Yes.
And didn't do any improvements to the game, because why? We are already the top game out there. I don't see Fortnite really doing that. Not yet. I mean, they're adding things to the game, even though they're the top game out there. They're adding, they're trying different game modes.
Constantly.
They're adding new things to the game constantly. They're not sitting on their heels and saying, "Oh, we got the top spot. Let's enjoy this moment." They're moving with it.
Well, and
they're making other people have to work.
And Generic is making a comment in chat. Says Fortnite has been in development for way longer than PUBG. That is an accurate statement, but the Fortnite Battle Royale mode has
Battle
not
Royale
been.
was much less time.
Much less
They
time.
did that in a very, very short amount of time. They did have graphics and character movements and things like that, but I think they could have whipped that out pretty quick. I mean, they made the engine that it's on.
Yeah, and now I will say to that, obviously there's so many differences between PUBG and Fortnite, and I think that's not. I think that's why it's not fair to say, "Oh, Fortnite is better than PUBG. PUBG is better than Fortnite." It depends what you're looking for. If you want a more realistic, quote unquote, game, PUBG is the clear answer. If you want something that's a lot more,
I think Fortnite is built better, but that doesn't necessarily,
doesn't mean it's better now.
But I think that PUBG, if they put the time into it and the expertise, they could get to the exact same thing.
Yeah. Now
they could get that polish. That shows you what they could do.
They can, in case, and I'll give you an example. Well, not an example, but we saw PUBG after they pub stomped H1Z1 King of the Kill, and they were all the way up at the top. They were fat, dumb, and happy, and they were hanging out, and then Epic punched them in the face, and we saw what the result was. I mean, Epic absolutely lit a torch under Bluehole's ass about their Battle Royale game. And now we are seeing, and
now they got all these game modes,
yes,
and they're doing
none
all
of this,
new maps.
None of this would be happening right now. It would have happened eventually. None of this would be happening right now without Fortnite. I don't care what anybody says. You are absolutely wrong. Fortnite absolutely
does nothing but make the gaming world better
for the consumer. Absolutely. I mean,
for the consumer.
Epic made a game so fast, and it became so popular so quick. I don't even think Bluehole had enough time to say, "Whoa, like where the hell did these guys come from?" And now you're seeing Bluehole, it's every other week or whatever, is doing a new game mode test on their servers. That's because Epic is doing that 3 times a week. They're testing new modes. They do 2 updates a week where they add items. I mean, they are just going nonstop. And that's why I think it's tough to say, "Oh, Fortnite better than PUBG, PUBG better than Fortnite," kind of thing. It's just not, they're not the same at all. So,
well, and that's the thing. I think that with this, there are 2 different play styles too. I mean, they're both battle royale games, but there are people that enjoy playing on they enjoy playing more of a arcadey.
It's casual. That's the word you're looking for.
Casual type of a game on Fortnite. Yep. And there's people that like doing something like Arma, where it's more of a military simulator. And I think that PUBG has pulled some audience from Arma, right? As far as people that feel comfortable when they start playing PUBG because of Arma. But you know what? Your average player, the people that are going and gravitating towards Fortnite, Arma mechanics do not feel comfortable for them. Arma mechanics don't feel comfortable for Arma players. So the fact that he picked up so much of that, I think that's hurt him in the end. I think they should have. He did come from an Arma modding background, and so he's like, let's make something like this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but your movement, I think they're going to go through and fix the movement mechanics, and it's going to feel less like Arma in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a fantastic conversation. I wish we could continue with it, but we are way over on time as of right now, and we still have some stuff to do to wrap the show. So, with that, Brian, do we have anything else? Real quick, the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 out later this year. It's going to have a BR mode, and it does look like it may be one of the first Call of Duties ever to really support the PC audience, which I'm looking forward to because I believe this is going to be the first COD I purchase on PC. I've never purchased a COD on PC. Well, that's not true. I've purchased them when they've been on deep discount after the fact. Never purchased a new COD on PC. And I think this may be one that I purchase. So, on PC rather. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I've played some of the single player campaigns for Black Ops, and I really enjoyed those. So it'll be interesting to see with this one.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, as Nisko's saying, it's on battle.net, which is a first. It's not going to be on Steam. It's going to be battle.net. Do you plan on getting the new Battlefield? Oh, if it's got absolutely. I mean, especially if it's got to have a BR mode, which it will. Yeah, you gotta. I mean, I buy a couple games a year.
I've enjoyed Battlefield. It's very different than Call of Duty. I buy
a couple games a year, and Call of Duty and Battlefield, or whenever those are out, those are must buys. It's just it's just what you do. I plan every year to spend 60 hours on a Call of Duty, even if it sucks. I've purchased every single one of them since Call of Duty World at War. Actually, since COD 4, actually, every single one of them. It is what it is. It's like paying your electric bill. It is. It's like there's there's Duke Energy. They want their $25 or whatever.
So do you want to play that Friday the 13th one? Really, it's a minute long.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that.
We can make Firebomb happy today.
Yes. So what is this that we're watching?
So this is an announcement for Friday the 13th for their new single player mode.
All right, and here we go.
Rated M for mature.
Remember me, Jason. Make them remember.
No! Stop!
No! That's my boy.
Well, I gotta just say real quick, how in the hell is that game allowed in Australia? But we happy
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to digress. We're already at 2 hours and 5 minutes. But how in God's name is that game available to purchase in Australia?
I don't know.
I mean, literally, the first clip is Jason shoving some girl's head into a boiling pot of water. But we happy few, somebody taking a government pill is too violent. I mean, are you kidding me?
No,
I mean, Jesus.
It's the hypocrisy of the rating system in
literally
Australia.
China. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, we want green blood, no skeletons. What else? No cop cars from America.
Yeah, taxi cabs.
Yeah, when taxi cabs is done.
All right, we need to wrap this thing up. So I've got a. We have anything else before we get into current players?
Nope, we're good.
All right, well. Current players is where we go through and look at a couple of popular games that we talk about here on the program. Talk about who's playing them. Moving on. current players. Currently playing H1Z1, King of the Kill, 3,270. Your 24-hour peak, 6,258, with the 7-day peak of 8,128. We're talking about the success with Ark. It's still the case. Currently playing 25,085 currently. The 24-hour peak, 38,091, and a 7-day peak of 49,894. Rust, same thing. Very popular. 16,646 is your current players. 28,426 is the 24-hour peak, with a 7-day peak of 38,142. Moving on to Conan Exiles. Currently more players than Ark, which is quite surprising as we are now 2 weeks from launch with this. 25,703 people currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 38,556. With the 7-day peak, just shy of 50,000, 49,013 for Conan Exile. So it's holding that player base. We'll see what continues to go on with that. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Currently playing 222,130. Your 24-hour peak, 1.5 million. Your 7-day peak, just about 1.8 million for current players. And it is interesting to see that the Conan numbers are still strong. 3 or 4 weeks from now, it'll be interesting to see where they go, how quickly that drops
See
off.
if they maintain those people. I mean, because the thing is without the dinosaurs, like, what are they going to do? How are they going to maintain players over a long period of time? Is the PvP gonna be enough? Like, what is it going to be?
I'll tell you real quick. If they hold this play base, they could have themselves a solid 10 to 15,000 player base, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, people, you know, I guarantee you H1Z1. Yeah, I guarantee you H1Z1 would love to have 10,000 players consistently playing. So they could seriously have themselves a solid player base there, which would be exciting.
Yep. Very good. All right. So we ready for tip of the week?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tip of the week is where I go through and either talk about a general gaming tip or one about a specific game. Since we got some people playing Conan Exiles, I'll be talking about that one. So this is tip of the week. All right. So in Conan Exiles, and this is something that people have been talking about a little bit, but there's a thing called star metal in the game, and it spawns in the northwest region of the map. And this is something that spawns in a special event. So you will see, and it's actually very rare, but if you look up in the sky, you can see meteorites that are falling. And some people, you know, have only seen them a couple times, and they've been playing it since those have been announced. So it is something that is very rare. And if you look up, it's supposed to be a pretty cool looking effect. They did a good job with it. But you have to go to that area and then find these nodes that are on the ground that have spawned. And so you have to look through the area, and the place that they are, it's not set spots. It's totally random where they may be. And I've also heard that a new one won't come. A new meteor shower will not come until after you've picked up all the pieces. So if you're playing and you notice that it's not happening anymore, there may be a node that you need to find. Supposedly they decay over time too, so you may eventually have them decay, and then another one will come. So being that the locations are random, you have to find them in the world. There's no map that shows you exactly where they're at. And then once you find this node, you have to actually remove a casing that surrounds the metal that you're trying to get to. So if you're looking to do that, you can use a grease and fire orb to burn off the shell of it, or you can place an explosive jar next to the node and then shoot it. You got to balance out the cost of doing that. It is you have to have the explosive jar in a fairly particular place to be able to do this. And so, you may waste a couple trying to get the right place, and then, shoot it with a bow and arrow, and that should remove that shell. And then you can use those. And it's a very rare item for a higher level crafting, like tier 5 crafting. So if you're looking to get some of the top stuff, keep an eye out for those, because it'll suck if you are playing the whole time and you didn't realize you were needing to get those and you passed me by, because they are a very rare item. So make sure you carry some stuff around, go get those star metal spawns when you can, and start saving them up so that you can actually craft a decent number of items later in the game. So that is tip of the week.
All righty. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes.
And I think
right.
it's time for our
Ready for the
giveaway. Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. So Generic, a new viewer of the show. So congratulations.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Yes. So, hey, that's the thing is you have to participate to win. So congratulations. And that was Ryse Son of Rome.
Yes, sir.
And I will be contacting you and I'll give you a code for that. So yeah, Ryse Son of Rome. And I'll be sending you a Steam key so you can redeem that. So congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are new to the channel here, you can check out all of our social media stuff like that. You see it below us here on the double box, and check all that stuff out. And or
if you forget that, go to our website.
Yes,
everything is laid out there.
Yeah, especially our Discord. Now, a real quick note again: game of the week. We're playing H1Z1 on the PS4. The open beta is now, the closed beta is now open rather, and that is available as of today. So you can go ahead and download it now. It's about 10 or so gigabytes. So be aware that it'll take a little while to download, especially if their servers are getting hammered, which I assume they will be Friday. So come prepared.
Yep. And and we'll have a link to the show notes if you want to just redeem it. Maybe you're at work or something and listening.
Yeah.
You can click the link in our show notes. It'll take you to the PlayStation page, and you can redeem it there so that it'll be hopefully on your PlayStation when you get back.
And I'll be pinning a message in our Discord on our PlayStation Network community page, so you can join that, and that's where we'll have our voice chat channel set up Friday night so that you can jump into our chat channel, and we'll hopefully get a couple squads going and kind of test the waters and see what the difference is between Hacker Central on PC and closed concept on the PlayStation, how that plays out.
It may be a whole new game to us.
I think it will be. From what I've played, it was a lot different. So be aware of that. All right, Brian, where can people find you?
All right, cool. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, you can go check out my blog, Bite of Tech, and that's with an I, of course, biteoftech.com. Make sure you go check out our website. If you're looking to join us and you want information on different servers that we are playing on, we've got one thing I was going to announce. We've got 2 ARMA servers up now, and 2 different maps, a little bit different style of play on each. And so if you're interested in ARMA, make sure you jump into our Discord, and we got links to that. And I'll be putting another banner on our servers page on the website. Also, we have on there a notification if you want to get Steam notifications of when our show starts. We'll also start doing notifications of when our game of the weeks are starting, so that you can join us on those. And then we have a link to our YouTube, our Twitch on there, and all the different ways that you can listen to our audio-only formats of the show. So I think that's it for me.
All righty. Thank you very much, Brian. I got some comments about your fish tank being fake. So, I mean, I don't know.
No, it's not fake. It's real.
Yeah, I just assumed that. All right.
They are moving.
Well, hey, it's 2018, Brian. Yeah, there's some very sophisticated pieces of equipment available that can produce graphics like that. So thank you, thanks, Brian, and we'll see you here. We'll see you Friday for H1Z1. Oh, real quick, next week we're playing
Black Wake. So make sure that it's on sale until Monday. So the day before the next show, it will go off of being on sale. And so next week when we talk about it, it will not be on sale anymore. So this is your week. Do not procrastinate. Don't wait till we remind you next time. If you're thinking about it right now, it's like $10.
$10.99. I just bought it.
$10.99. It's a really fun game. Watch people play it. I just got it today myself. Nick got it today. And so it's on sale. Pick it up, and then we will be playing it next week.
Oh, there you go. You've been warned. So you have no excuse not to join us next Friday. Black Wake next Friday. The pirate ship game. The better pirate ship game from all accounts. So thank you very much, Brian, and we'll see you Friday night.
See you Friday.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you maybe you're listening to this after the fact, you can tune into our show live each and every Tuesday right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Hop into the chat, win some games, give us your feedback, so on and so forth. You can do that. Check out all of our social media. All of that information is on our website, infectionpodcast.com. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. And of course, if you need anything, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.